In today's video, I'll cover important updates, travel requirements, and scams to avoid when flying into the Cancun Airport. These are essential tips that are going to help you have a fun and safe vacation to Mexico in 2022. Travelers to Mexico from many countries, including Canada and the US, do not need a visa to enter the country. You do need to fill out an FMM, which is an admission document that's going to be issued to Mexico visitors on arrival. You will be handed this form on the plane to fill out. You do also have the option to fill the FMM out online for free, print it, and then bring it with you. Which brings me right into my first tip: don't bother. Filling the form online in advance is a complete waste of time because it likely won't be accepted, considering the size or the formatting or the color is not going to be the same as the form that they're going to hand you on the airplane. It's understandable that you want to be as prepared as possible before arriving at the Cancun Airport, and it might be tempting to fill out the FMM online and then bring it with you. This may actually be more problematic than beneficial, considering that you might get to the front of the immigration line and then show your printed version and have it rejected by the immigration officer. At this point, you would need to leave the line, find the form, fill it out by hand, and then get back in the immigration line to wait and go through the process all over again. You will be getting the FMM on the plane to fill out, and it's available to you in both English and Spanish, so there really is no benefit or reason to be filling it out online in advance. Once you get to the immigration officer, they're going to write how many days you're allowed to stay in the country and hand the form back to you. You will be asked to show this form at the airport as you go to leave Mexico, and if you don't have it, you will be required to pay a fee. This next tip is important to know if you're planning an extended stay in Mexico. Permission to enter the country is at the discretion of the Mexico immigration authorities, and the maximum stay for tourism purposes is 180 days. It's important to know that while 180 days is the maximum you will be granted as a tourist, it is not granted by default. If you are going to Mexico on a 2-week vacation, or honestly any time that is 1 month or less, then this probably won't be relevant to you. But if you are hoping to stay in Mexico for several months, you may be required to explain the purpose of your trip to the immigration officer, as well as provide evidence to support your claim, like proof of accommodations and a return flight. I'll link to a video that I made several weeks ago that went through exactly what the immigration officer asked me and exactly what documents I was required to show in order to be allowed to stay in Mexico for several months. This next tip applies to all travelers to Mexico, whether it's a short or long stay, which is to read the English version of the customs form prior to leaving for your trip. In addition to being provided the FMM to fill out, you will also need to fill out a customs form on arrival. The form was only available in Spanish when I flew into Cancun in January. So if you are not fluent, I recommend you have a look at a translated version before you board your flight. I'll link to the one that I used in the description. I also was not able to connect to the internet until after I passed immigration, so definitely don't rely on Google to help you translate this form in the moment, and I would recommend that instead you save a copy of the English version onto your phone so that you can reference it offline if needed. You will also want to be aware of the many online scams to look out for when preparing to enter Mexico in 2022. As of March 2022, there are no forms that a Canadian or American visiting Mexico needs to fill out or pay for prior to arriving in the country. Anything that you do need is going to be provided to you on the airplane or at the Cancun Airport when you arrive, and it's going to be for free. There are currently no vaccination or COVID-19 testing requirements. You do not need to be vaccinated, nor do you need a PCR or antigen test to enter Mexico. There are, however, very official-looking websites online that are going to ask you to do things like upload your proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test, or even to fill out a health declaration form prior to arriving in Mexico. These are scams. Very clever scams too, since they use scare tactics and take advantage of the fact that requirements to enter different countries all over the world are continuously changing. And I actually fell for one of them prior to flying into Cancun earlier this year. I had read on some government websites that you may be asked to fill out a health declaration form when you arrive in Mexico. So trying to be as prepared as possible, I went online to see if I could fill this form out in advance to be extra prepared and have it ready to go when I arrived in Cancun in case it was asked for. I filled out the entire form online, then only started to question the validity when I got to the bottom and it asked me to pay a 70 USD fee. Being asked to pay a fee is what prompted me to do a little bit of research, and that's when I learned that there were many very official looking websites with scams like this that are trying to get travelers to fill out forms or upload testing results and then pay a fee to have it validated. I did not have to fill out any health form when I arrived at the Cancun Airport, but if you are asked to fill out any form, a declaration form, a health form, a customs form, your FMM, know that it's going to be provided for you and there is not going to be any fee for it, so please don't pay for anything. Something else that is so important prior to flying into the Cancun Airport is being aware of the airport scams, particularly those involving transportation. Taxi scams are a big problem for travelers arriving at the Cancun International Airport, which is why I recommend that you book your ride to your hotel in Cancun or Tulum or Playa del Carmen in advance of arriving at the airport. It's likely going to be easiest to arrange for your transportation with the hotel that you're staying at, but if it's very expensive or if they don't offer this service, there are quite a few transportation companies online with excellent reviews to check out. The one that my friends and I used to get to Playa del Carmen was Cancun Shuttle. I can leave their link in the description, but know that I'm not affiliated with them in any way. And while booking your transportation from the Cancun Airport in advance can help you avoid taxi scams and inflated pricing, you still do need to be on the lookout for other scams. Official personnel from the transportation company that you booked with are going to have some sort of identifier on them or be in a specific uniform. If for some reason you can't find them, pull up your confirmation and text or call the phone number that they provide you with. Contacting the transportation company directly, as opposed to asking someone at the airport for help, is going to be the best way to avoid any of the common scams. Even official airport staff can be in on some of these scams, such as telling you something like, it looks like your shuttle left, but don't worry, we will call you a new one, which you'll pay for now, but then you'll be refunded for your original payment at a later date. Another common transportation scam from the airport would be someone escorting you to your shuttle, at which point you get in, and then once you arrive at your destination, that shuttle driver is going to be asking you for payment, regardless of the fact that you had prepaid to another company. So again, always call or text the number that the company that you prepaid with and booked with provided you in the confirmation, as opposed to asking someone for help. And then be very cautious if anyone does approach you or ask to see your confirmation. Those are my top tips and things to look out for if you're traveling to the Cancun International Airport in 2022. Let us know down in the comments if you have any additional tips that will help other travelers out. Have an amazing trip to Mexico, and I hope to see you back here for more travel tips and hacks soon. Bye.